Hello everyone, my name is Mowmaster. I am the developer for Pedestals mod for Minecraft Forge 1.16. Today we're going to continue our video documentation series by covering some more pedestal information, mainly linking, redstone control, and some pedestal augmentation. So let's hop right into it here. To start off with, you can see there's a big area of effect going on. I have selected this middle pedestal, and this is showing off its linking range. So what we'll do is we'll just unlink ourselves from that pedestal. I will grab another pedestal for demonstration purposes, and we'll go up to this one. And to link a pedestal, what you're doing is you're looking for the one that's going to receive the items that you're sending around. So we're going to select the pedestal receiving items. It should tell us here your selected block is this pedestal, so 197138. And then from here, we can pick a pedestal we want to send items from. Let's go with this one. And because this one is within this colorful range that we have, you'll notice that we have a link successful here. So yay! The particles go away, and we'll notice that this pedestal now has been linked to our pedestal up there. If we want to undo that connection, we just select the receiving pedestal yet again, shift right click on this one, and it will say successfully removed, but it will keep the link connection in our wand so that we can link it to another pedestal if we want to send items to it. If you try to send items outside of its range, it will say, hey, that's way too far to connect, so nope. Also, you can try to connect it to itself, and that doesn't work either, because that's kind of weird. Why would you do that? So instead, we'll just connect it to this pedestal here. I must have had it connected earlier because I was testing, but there you go. We selected it, and again, we'll go up here, shift right click, and remove it. So there you go. There's some pedestal linking stuff. Pretty simple stuff. You select the receiver, you select the sender second, and the sender is what actually holds your connections. And so what that means is because the sender holds all the connections, the receiver can receive from any number of senders that you want to link to it. So if I wanted to link 30 different senders to it, I could link 30 different senders to this receiving pedestal, and it could receive all those items from those pedestals. Granted, speed comes into account, but we can modify that to an extent with our upgrades. But yeah, so you could link up 30 different pedestals to one single pedestal if you wanted to, but the reverse is not true. So what I mean by that is, let's look here. I have a few pedestals in my inventory. And let's go out over here a little ways. We'll put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, start over, 8, 9. We'll have 9 pedestals out. We'll have this one be the one we're linking to. And let's kind of go over this. So we can link 8 different pedestals to this. Pretty easy. If I don't mess up. So those are all 8. If we check it, you'll see there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different connections there. They're being sent to, and then we'll right-click this one and try to link it, and link unsuccessful, maximum links reached. So what this is saying is a pedestal that sends items can only send items to 8 different pedestals, which is a bit unfortunate. So 9 is too much, but having said that, you could link this 9th one to another pedestal, and then this one could send it, and you could continue to chain them, so to speak, by doing it this way. So if you need more than 8 connections, you can just have whatever items that are being sent to the 8th connection and 9th connection, you can just combine those into one connection, and then that connection can split them off into different directions. So you can chain them fairly easily, but 8 is the hard limit on how many connections you can have sending to various pedestals. So yeah, that's just one thing to keep in mind, is you can send to 8 different ones, but you can receive from any number of pedestals. So that is pedestal linking in its detail. I don't think there's anything else that I'm forgetting, so that should be about it. But yeah, the main thing to keep in mind is the receiver is where you you right-click the receiver and then shift-right-click the sender, and you can see the particle effects. So, and if you have particles off, those may not appear. So make sure you have at least minimal on. Minimal. I think minimal. I don't. You need to have particles on to see them basically. So. But yeah, that is pedestal linking. We're going to shift our eyes over here to our redstone control section. So what you'll notice here is a few different things. First of all, let's take that stone out of there. I don't need that there for right now. Let's do that. So first of all, we will cover pedestals and comparators. Right now, there is a bug with pedestal comparators. For tools, it only emits a signal strength of 1 when it should emit a signal strength of 15. That is a bug. Same with ender pearls. If you put a stack of ender pearls in here, it should give you a signal strength of 16, but it doesn't. It gives you a signal strength of 5. So that's also a bug. But like I said, those two bugs, they will be getting fixed in version 0.4. As of today, I've already actually fixed it myself. But that will be coming in version 0.4 of pedestals, where that will be fixed. But for normal stack sizes of items, you'll notice that I colored it. I did not mean to color it. Oopsie. Let's grab a stack of these. Nope, that won't work either. Let's grab a stack of something that I can put in here without... Where did my items go? There we go. So you can see a normal stack works just fine. But yeah, so... there you go. That is a few things just to note, but it has comparator output, which is nice, and you can do a few things with this. One is by linking this pedestal to this one and this one to that one, so they're both linked to each other. We can create a sort of redstone clock. So about every 2 seconds, a signal will go off, and that's that lamp going off. You'll also notice that this pedestal is being powered right now. This pedestal linked to it can't send items to it. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Pedestals, if you power the pedestal itself, it cannot send items, it cannot receive items, and the upgrade on it cannot function. For example, the teleporter upgrade here, you notice it doesn't seem like it has fuel in it because there's no effect on it, but if I hit it, you'll notice there is actually fuel in there, so it's like, why is there no effect? That's because the redstone is powering it off. The moment I unpower it, you'll notice that it works again. And so there you go. If you power a pedestal with an upgrade, it prevents it from doing anything. But yeah, so back to this one, you'll notice if I turn this off, it can send back and forth again. If I turn it on with an item in it, it can no longer send items. And it can no longer receive items. So using this bit of information, we can create a different system. And I'm just going to run over here and grab a few items here out of our test setup. So we have an anvil, andesite, and some other stairs. This pedestal is linked to this one first, this one second, and this one third. We can notice that by just doing the connection here. So you can see that they're all on the same axis, just on different Z coordinates. And so there we go. This first one, we're checking the pedestal itself. If it has an item, it's going to turn itself off. The second example is we're checking an inventory below the pedestal. If this inventory has items in it, it will shut the pedestal off. Or if you're doing like a farm and you're growing wheat, you might shut off the harvester to keep it from harvesting if your chest is full. That might be another example, but this is just a quick example here. And then this is our final one. This has no redstone control on it, so it will just receive all items and put them in the chest. So having said that, let's flick this on, and you'll notice that we send one over there, but it's powered, so it stops being sent. We sent an item over here really quick, but once it had an item in the chest, it turned off, and the rest of the items went over here. So you'll notice the anvil's in here, it shut it off. So there you go, there's that. Once there is one item in here, it shut this system off. And so the only option left for this pedestal is to send it here to the only pedestal not being currently powered. So that's how a little bit of redstone control plays into the pedestal linking and sending abilities. So yeah, there you go. That is just a little bit more redstone control. Last but not least, a modification to vanilla. Let me grab a stack of these real quick, and I will do that. So this is a vanilla hopper sorter. So basically how vanilla hopper sorters work is you have a hopper with, typically you have cobblestone filling up all those different slots, and then one item that you're sorting. That's typically how a hopper sorter works. You compare that hopper signal, and if it has enough items in it, it will shut off the hopper below it, and the hopper below it will start dragging items out of the top one into the chest. The modification here is the pedestal only has one slot, which means it will only hold so many items in that slot. So you can actually use less of a buffer, so to speak, than you would normally with the two hopper Minecraft sorter. What makes this kind of nice is instead of using like a water stream to send items to pedestals, you could just link up pedestals to the receivers, and then they can input into the correct chests. And then they can have a buffer of a stack above that chest if they have to. So there's some benefits to doing it this way. Obviously, this is not necessary even. You could just use pedestal item sorting as it is, but that will be another video we'll cover later. So we'll flick this lever off, and that will start sending items up here. This, once it has 4 items in it, will send a signal out, turning this hopper off, allowing the hopper to pass items into our chest. And so we should have 11 in here, 1 in here makes 12, and 4 in here makes our 16. So there you go. You only need 5 items in here to make this sorter work. The rest of them get sorted in your chest. So that's nice. It's definitely a nice way to interact with vanilla. But like I said, if you sort things with the pedestal filtering, it's actually even cheaper on the amount of items that you have to keep in an inventory. So, but like I said, I'll cover filtering in another video. All right, so that's redstone control. Most of it works with vanilla redstone, which is really nice. And yeah, you can kind of play around with it and explore your options there. All right, last but not least, we have a few things, mainly being the pedestal speed upgrade and the pedestal capacity upgrade. These two upgrades function very, very similar to the capacity and speed enchantments for regular pedestal upgrades. So pedestal upgrades themselves, the little coins, they can be enchanted, but their function is mainly they're interacting with the world and they're interacting with the pedestal. So that's typically what those upgrades do. These upgrades affect the interaction between pedestals. So pedestals normally can only send 4 items per second. So that is the default transferring speed. It doesn't get any faster than that. And for early game Minecraft, you really don't need a super huge amount of transferring speed. It's when you get into later Minecraft or you have some of your bigger farms, like, you know, your 13 by 13 by 13 size farm, for example. If you have that being harvested, I mean, there's hundreds of items rolling around. You need to speed up your pedestals. So this is one option. So what we have going on here is on top we have capacity upgraded pedestals, starting with 1 going to 5. And on the bottom we have speed upgraded pedestals from 1 to 5 as well. And this is our base 0 upgraded pedestal. So first of all, what I'm going to start off with is I'm going to run the speed upgrades first. The speed upgrades, they're upgraded the same way as the coin upgrades are upgraded, where the speed increases the more speed you have installed. And the max speed is it will send 4 items per Minecraft tick. And the speed is comparable to the upgrades, which is nice. So if you're pulling out items at, if you're pulling out 1 item every tick or 4 items every tick with your upgrade, your pedestal can then transfer those items at the same rate, which is kind of nice. That way you're not getting any backlog if you're, or you're not getting overstuffed or anything like that. So, and then on top, the capacity works very similar to how the upgrades work. However, pedestals by default transfer 4 items at a time. And so the change in capacity from 32 to 64 actually has a middle ground where it goes 32, 48, and 64. So there's a split in there, unlike the upgrades themselves. But otherwise, they're basically the same thing. They're just for pedestals interacting with other pedestals. The only downside to making a long line of pedestals that are transferring is if you want to transfer at a constant speed, you have to upgrade every single pedestal in that line that's sending items. Now, if a pedestal is receiving items, it doesn't need upgraded. But if a pedestal is sending items to another pedestal, it needs upgraded on the speed or capacity. So that is the one downside. But pedestals with their 8-block range, it's not a huge deal because I mean that's half a chunk worth of distance, and so 2 pedestals upgraded can send items for a whole chunk. And for a lot of machine rooms, you don't need that much space to send anyway, so having 1 pedestal upgraded is just fine. But anyway, let's get to the test example. So I flick the lever, you'll notice that light turned on almost immediately, and then these lights are turning on slowly but surely. That one, and then lastly, I will just jump in my inventory here. Still not done? Yeah, probably not. That one still had 12 items left to send, so much slower, but still not bad options. And I will just reload these real quick. All right, now on to the capacity. You'll notice this one goes off first, then these two, then this one, and that one will be last. The reason for that is this, like I said, by default sends 4. This will send 8 at a time, or I guess that will send 8 at a time. 16, 32, 48 at a time, which is why these two turn on at the same time, because it takes two intervals for this to send and fill up its stack, but 32 also takes 2 intervals. So where this comes in handy is it's just a little bit faster than this one, if your buffer is more than a stack, basically. And this is 1 stack per transfer. And 1 stack for transfer is pretty quick. And so what makes the speeded up pedestals work so well is let's quickly run over to our other test site here. You'll notice we have an upgrade that has a transfer rate of 64. Did I have a... Let's duplicate this real quick. I don't have an extractor, I don't think. So we're going to steal an upgrade there, and we're going to enchant this with some more speed. So now we have capacity and speed on our upgrade. I'm going to grab an export upgrade as well. So this is the reverse of the imports. We're going to put speed on there, and then we're going to put our capacity on there as well. And what you're going to notice with this is if we grab this pedestal here and do one of these, then let's grab some logs and a chest. Do that. We'll apply some redstone control with a lever. Oops, that's not a lever. That's a lever. A little bit of redstone control. We'll link these two together. Yoink, yoink. Just filling the chest real quick. So what you'll notice is if I flick this lever now, it'll pull a stack out, and then it only pulls 4 per second out. And so this is why even if you upgrade your upgrades to max, you may not be able to completely send, that many items over all at the same time. And it's a little frustrating, and so that's why the pedestal upgrades exists. So if we want to, we can increase the speed of this one and the capacity of this one, or I did it backwards, but capacity and speed. It's now maxed out at speed 5 and capacity 5. This one is just receiving items. It does not need upgraded. Only the sending pedestals need upgraded. So that is kind of nice, is you only need to upgrade one side. And then with that, if I am quick enough, you'll notice that chest fills up really quick. So speeding up your pedestals and speeding up your upgrades can turn into some pretty insane speed builds, and that's really fun for various reasons. We'll reverse it here. Did I not reverse it? Oh, that would help. But as you can see, that one going backwards is slow again. So we would have to upgrade this if we're doing, what we're doing. And there you go. Now you've filled up a whole nother chest that way. So, but yeah, like I said, you can get pretty insane on the speed if you upgrade your pedestals and their upgrades themselves. So, pretty nutty stuff. I would put one caution note on this. Do be careful increasing the speed of your pedestals. If you increase the speed of all your pedestals in your base, you might run into an issue where your base gets really laggy, and that's mainly just because there's a lot of block checking going on with some of these upgrades. Typically they're checking the block below, grabbing an item stack, passing it, checking to make sure the pedestal can receive it, and then checking to make sure the chest can insert it. So there's usually about 4 checks that go on per transfer, and if you speed up 100 pedestals, that's 400 different checks. With a slow computer, your game could get kind of laggy. There is improvements coming down the pipeline for this, but until we get there, just be warned that an increased speed also means an increase in the loss of frame rate. So that's all I have to cautionary about some of the more advanced bits of the pedestals. Thank you for stopping by and hanging out today. We'll see you next time. Have a good day, have a good night, have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.